What's up? It's me, Adam McDormand, and as promised, I'm here to get back into the vinyl collection. I know some of you have been waiting. Some of you were hoping I was done forever. Sorry, I gotta finish this because it's awesome. And of course, this is medium quality. So, when we last left off, I think I finished the O's, so I believe the next letter in the alphabet is P. So let's take a look at what we have. First thing first, I have Paper Route's 2012 release, The Piece of Wild Things. I picked this up when I saw them in Lafayette, Indiana, because I got one look at the record itself and saw this gorgeous yellow and black vinyl, and I thought to myself, of course I've gotta buy this. And I think Paper Route is one of the better underground pop bands that I've heard. The awesome thing is, if you take a look, JT drew on the cover of mine. He asked me if he could, and of course, yeah. And then the guys autographed it on the back. Great album, some fantastic like indie pop songs, a little bit of an electronica feel going on. Really well produced album. Go listen to these guys, they're sweet. And they're really nice people too, so they're definitely worth supporting. I think they should be a lot more well known than they are. Next, I have Pedro the Lion's Control. This is the 2012 remaster vinyl pressing of this, which is probably my favorite Pedro the Lion album. It's a concept piece about some bad relationship stuff. It's very subdued. There are parts of it that are just like almost depressing to listen to, but it works really well. It accomplishes what it sets out to accomplish in creating this mood and telling kind of a story, but just being really good indie songs. I would definitely recommend picking this up if you're a fan of, obviously, David Bazan. This is where he got his start, and a fantastic album. Check this one out. Next up, I have Peter Gabriel, So, from 1986. This is a cool album. I've always been a fan of Peter Gabriel's pop work. The song Sledgehammer, I have loved that song ever since when I first saw the music video that has those and I just thought it was awesome. It's a great song, and this album is a good one. I mean, if you're a fan of that like mid 80s sort of weird pop music, it has the 80s pop sound to it, but it's got Peter Gabriel's unique and signature style of oddity. I mean, if you've listened to old Genesis back when Peter Gabriel was still in the band, you'll notice that he's a strange guy, as many genius level artists are. And I would say that Peter Gabriel is an extraordinary artist who does some interesting things within this genre. Check it out. In Your Eyes, another really good song from here. And Red Rain is popular with Peter Gabriel fans as well. Cool album. Cool album. Next up, another Genesis veteran, Phil Collins' Face Value. This was, I believe, his first solo album. When he was taking a break between a couple of Genesis albums, he put this out, which is a really great 80s pop album, it's got the incredibly iconic "In the Air Tonight" song with that, really sparse sounding drum machine, and then, it's got that iconic drum fill, Yeah, remind me to never do that again. Awesome album. He explores a few different genres, stepping away from what he was doing with Genesis, experimenting with his own songwriting capability. And if you're familiar with the progression of Genesis albums, you'll notice that Phil Collins' role as a songwriter increased after he had this experience under his belt. And they came back together, and I don't remember which Genesis album it is that they started with after this. I want to say probably Duke, which is one of my favorite Genesis albums. Check this album out, it's awesome. Next, I've got Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon, 1973 progressive rock masterpiece. This album speaks for itself. I mean, it's got some awesome singles on it: Time, Money, Us and Them. Awesome. It's one of those albums that if you collect vinyl, sometimes it's kind of hard to come by this album for a decent price, but it should be in your collection if you like progressive music, or if you just like listening to records. I mean, this album is extraordinary. Check this one out for sure. All right, another really awesome album, Synchronicity by The Police. This album is from 1983, has some of their iconic songs on it as well. Every Breath You Take being the big one, the one that The Police are probably most well known for. That and Roxanne, which of course is not on this album. It's cool. Wrapped Around Your Finger on side B is also a really good song. Just a great pop album. If you want to step away from Pink Floyd's progressive stuff and listen to something that's a little more accessible, a little easier, good album. Check it out, pick it up, add it to your collection. Okay, now we're getting into some serious music here. Rush, A Farewell to Kings. Now this is from 1977, so this is Rush still being very ambitious with their songwriting, very progressive. It's got long songs on it. Xanadu on side A is 11 minutes long. Side 2, of course, has Closer to the Heart, which is one of their really well-known singles. It's a great song. It's a great album. Rush is one of those bands that if you like just rockin' music, it's more on that end of the spectrum than the more noodly progressive music. It's got those progressive influences to it, obviously with the song lengths and whatnot, but it's a precursor to metal in a lot of ways because it's just so hard rockin'. Definitely pick this album up if you come across it. Add it to your collection. It is a good one. And lastly for today, Rush, Permanent Waves from, when is this album from? No clue. 1980. More and more as Rush is getting older as a band at this point, 1980, they're moving away from the longer song lengths. They're still longer than your standard radio single, but they've got some really great singles on this album. Spirit of the Radio, Freewill. I think Jacob's Ladder was even on the charts for a while, even though that's not nearly as well known. This is an album that you should listen to. Another really great Rush album to have in your collection. Obviously, there's still Moving Pictures which I don't have, that you should get if you can find it. I haven't found it for a decent price yet, but when I do, dude, it's going right in my collection, right next to these, because it's good too. And that'll do it. So we finished the R's. Next up, we're hopping into the S's. We're getting close to the end of my vinyl collection. Obviously there's more to go, so stick around. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and hit me up on Twitter if you want to ask me some questions either about vinyl collecting, about my collection, or the thing that you want to hear me talk about when I'm finished with this. So, have an awesome day. Make sure you listen to some great music. Be good to your fellow man. Peace out.